how to make the starting of a dashboard. I mean, I say the start because ideally when you make a dashboard, it'll be a view only dashboard with maybe a couple of interactive items on it, perhaps like a slider or something that'll let you move through your data, etc. Over the next couple of videos I'm going to show you how to further enhance that. I mean, this here is looking at 2 years worth of data, comparing them side by side, and it's probably not the best way to display it. There's better ways to show this, and there's also a few other visual aids you would put in your dashboard, and over the next couple of videos I'm going to try and add a few in here, just to show you what you can achieve. For instance, this here, you taken in line with the above. This is the 1st of February 09, and as we move the slider along into the 1st of March 09, where we've had a little bit of an improvement in terms of numbers of passengers travelled, and I'll explain a bit more about the data. This here is clearly showing an increase in passengers that used this bus route between February the 1st 09 and March the 1st 09. It's very clear, there's no ambiguity. But if we go up here and we look at February here and then March here, there's very little way you could tell whether there was an increase or decrease. And if you look at that long enough, you would forget anything about the previous month. So just to refresh, this is the data we're using. It's 2 years worth of passenger transports. The whole year from January 1st 2009. If I scroll the page all the way down to the bottom, goes all the way down to row 366 to the last day in December 2009, and it's passenger numbers who used this route every day over the whole year. It may not have been the same vehicle every day, but the route was operational every day of the year. And we've got data to compare it with 2010. So your dashboard should allow you to do that without making you have to wonder, what is that representing. So we're going to make a few additions to the dashboard, and the first thing we would do, or I would do, is we'll get rid of this comparative data. Adding data and removing data from a chart, fairly easy. Find the data series you want to remove, highlight it, right click, go to select data, left click, and select the series you want to move, or sorry, series you want to remove, and I want to remove series 2 data. Series 1 is the primary axis, if you like, so I'm going to remove series 2. Click OK. And now you can see clearly that's just January 2009's data there. If we go back to our data dump, I've made a couple of amendments to the data, namely, if you're using this data over and over again, your formulas can get long and complicated, and it's easier if you start naming some of your ranges. For instance, here 2009, fairly self-explanatory. It's all the dates of 2009. And to show you how to name a series, we'll do it here. Select the first cell in the series you want to name. Holding Control and Shift, press the down arrow. That selects that whole column of data all the way down to row 366. And I always like to make my names something that it's very easy. In the formula you can tell exactly what data you're referring to. So for instance, this I would say 2, TH for 1000, NI for 9, and PAX, which is a universal word for passengers. But we'll make it 9 and then PAX. And hit enter. And that'll make that much easier on the eye when I'm doing that within a formula. I've also named this column here 2010, and likewise we're going to name this 2000, Control Shift down arrow, 2010 PAX. And when you get a naming convention, if you stick with it throughout your formulas, people picking your formulas up, in theory, should be able to work out what your formulas are and what they're doing. And let's face it, most formulas are not hidden. They're there to enhance your sheet or to make working through data easier. So there we go. And just for the sake of continuity, I'm going to change this here. This is referring to row B, which we've just named 2009. So I'm just going to change that in. And to change a range to a named range in your formula, highlight what you already have, which is this column of data here that we've just renamed 2009. Press F3 and it'll bring up the paste names dialog box. And we go to 2009 PAX. No, we don't. We go to 2009 and click OK. And click enter. The second part of this formula here is referring to A1 to A2 all the way down to A366, and these are the index numbers we're using from the formula earlier. To determine what month we were selecting. So when we selected number 1, we got the first date in the month that we were looking for. So when we're looking for month 1, we would select number 1, it would give us 1st of January. If we wanted the month 2, we select number 2 and it would give us the first date in February. So this column here is worthy of being named, and we'll call it year index select. Now it's important when you're naming ranges you have no spaces and no numeric characters. So writing 2009 would have been easier to do it with the number 9 in there rather than the word 9, but Excel doesn't accept that in a named range, so you have to just think about how you're putting them in. And I always like to separate words. You can't separate with spaces. You can separate with underscores. I prefer not to do that. So year index select, no spaces, and just make a capital letter at the start of each word, and it's fairly easy to see what that is. Once you've named it, hit enter. And again we'll go back and alter this formula here. And we'll change this part here now and hit F3, and it's a year index select, and that's in the match part. And you can see straight away that that's easier to look at. We know exactly what it is. So we're indexing 2009, which is this data here, and we're matching G1, which is a I should maybe have made that the month select as that range. Actually, that's what we'll do. So to change a name that you've already created, you need to go into the name manager. I never remember where this is. Right, so to get to the name manager, you want to select the data tab. No, you don't. You want to select the formulas tab and then into name manager. But the keyboard shortcut, which is easier to remember than this ribbon to negotiate for me, is Control Shift F3. Is Control F3, and the one I just called Year Index Select, we're going to edit that. Highlight that, click Edit, and it's just a name I'm going to edit, so I'm not touch this part down here, and we'll change that to month and click OK. It's not asking me to tick. Generally it will ask you if you want to save what you've just changed and tick it. Click close. It's not been used in a formula yet, so that's why it doesn't ask you yet. If it was in a formula, it would ask you if you wanted to save that and you would have to tick it. So now just to make sure that's there, month index select, which is fine. Now we're going to go back into this formula and edit it slightly. Oh, it's already been done actually. It's updated itself from when we changed it, which is fine. This formula here now needs to be changed. Again, what is in B2 to B366. Press highlight them and press F3. And it's 2009. In every instance of that B reference, we're changing to 2009. And once you've changed them all, press enter, and then I'm going to double click and send it all the way down. And just visually, if you see the size of this formula here to the size of the formula above and the one below is different, so double click, send it down. When you go down here, always go down to the bottom just to double check that it went down as it should have, and it did. We'll start on that. When I come back, I'll start on the next part.